Thank you. Thank you very much for your applause. I do appreciate it. Also, I think I better thank Pam Shriver and Alicia Moulton for being patient. They're probably stalking up and down someplace before their match today. I'm glad to be the class of '87. My mom and dad are here, Bill and Betty Moffat. I'm really happy they're here because they very rarely go to tennis events. And I'd just like to thank, where's Joe? Uncle Joe, come over here. This man took a risk with women's tennis back in 1970 when Gladys Hellman went to him, and he said yes to our sponsorship when nobody believed in us. And Joe Coleman's always been willing to take a risk. And I'd just like to particularly thank you. Appreciate it. I know we've got to get going. Colonel Long, thank you. Billy Talbert, we've had some great run-ins. You've been great. He's very direct. I love him. Please go look at the museum. Please read some history books. As a child growing up, I read every history book I could on tennis. We're over 100 years old, and the generations that came before me, I thank them, especially the ones that are here today. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to play, and hopefully we've helped the future generations. Thank you very much.
By his court manners and by his leadership in his own style, he set a pattern, a standard that we hope many players would follow in the future. That's been his great mark on the game of tennis. Bjorn Borg.
Thank you very much. For me to be inducted in 1987 to the Tennis Hall of Fame was a big honor. And I think that's the finest award a tennis player can receive. I was here 11 years ago playing a match against John Newcomb. And I don't want to talk about the score because I didn't do it too well. But, and I'd like to thank Mr. Kullman, Mr. Talbot. And it's an extra pleasure for me to have my son here today. He probably doesn't know what's going on. He's only 3 years old, but I hope maybe one day he will stand right here where I'm standing, because I will be a very proud father. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Joe. And I'd like to thank all the writers that voted for me. I know that it's a difficult choice that the writers have to vote for the members of the Hall of Fame, and it's a great honor to be here. You know that Billie Jean and Dennis and Alex and I have received honors in different areas because of our tennis, but I think this is really the supreme honor. And when you win a big tournament like Wimbledon or the U.S. Open, it's always a thrill, but the great thing about it is you can share it with your family and your the close friends, and people have helped you along the way. And I'm very pleased, as the others, to have some of my family here today. My wife and one of my boys. My other three are at home. My parents are here from California. My aunt and uncle are here. And I've got so many in-laws that are from the East Coast here. I don't even know all of them, but a lot of them are here today, too. I said earlier that one of the great things about tennis is you can play from age 6 to 96. You can play as a male or female. You can play as a family. You can compete no matter what age you are, and Dodo Bundy is still competing. It's amazing. At age 72, she's going after the all-time record of national championships. And I think that, you know, I love the game of tennis, but you don't have to love the game of tennis to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I'm sure that's why you're here today, is because you love the game of tennis and continue to watch it and play it. And I really encourage you to continue to do so. And I'd just like to say as I finish here that it really is special to be here. There are only a few special moments in our lives, and certainly this will go down as one of those. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, thanks, Mr. Budge. It really means a lot to me to be given this award from the Hall of Fame, and especially from someone like Mr. Budge, who won the Grand Slam in 1938, and to think that I'm in the same group as Don Budge, Jack Kramer, Rod Laver, Billie Jean King, Althea Gibson, Suzanne Lenglen, all of those people that have already been inducted into the Hall of Fame. To think that now I'm in that group is amazing to me. It's quite overwhelming. I love the game so much, and then have come now to the Hall of Fame. It just means so much to me. But I didn't do it alone, that's for sure. I'd like to really thank my parents. They've been so great. My dad is the kindest man in the world. He's never said a bad thing about anybody. Even when I won or lost, he thought it was great. He just wanted me to be happy and have a good time out there. My passion for the game came from my mom. She still plays about 5 days a week, just loves it. And I want to thank her for traveling with me. And I know how nervous she was sitting there fiddling with her bracelets every match that I played. And I want to say how much I appreciate her being so supportive. And all my brothers were great, but especially my oldest brother, Jeff. He's now my agent. And when I was younger, he'd play on the circuit and he'd come back and practice with me. My other brothers were more closer to my age, and they thought it wasn't cool to practice with a little sister. And also my coach, Robert Lansdorp, who couldn't be here today. And also my two other brothers, one of them I won mixed doubles at Wimbledon with. He wanted so much to be here, but I want to share that with him, and also my sister. And last but not least, we're all told in this game and that it's the sport of a lifetime, and it really is for me. So one last thing, I'm really honored and as Philippe said, overwhelmed that I'm being inducted. And I'd just like to thank the Hall of Fame and everybody that voted for me and all the fans over the years. This is really terrific. Thanks.
The first time I ever came here, I stayed at Candy and Jimmy Van Allen's house, and I was 17 years old. I came with my dad and my sister. And I remember walking through the Hall of Fame. And I remember seeing, Bill Tilden, and Maureen Conley, and Suzanne Longland, and Helen Wills, and just being totally awestruck by those champions, not really feeling a part of history. I was 17, I hadn't achieved anything, but not really feeling a sense of history at all, because I felt very much removed from those champions that I'd put on such a high pedestal. And then this year I came back, and I was curious to know what my reaction would be, and I walked through the Hall of Fame. And there are a few more champions. I mean, it's been a long time since I was here at 17, but a few more champions in my era: Billie Jean King, Tracy Austin, Arthur Ashe. I mean, people that I knew, I had played against, and I really admired. And for the first time, I felt a sense of belonging, and I felt like I was part of the family. And it was quite a wonderful feeling, and I really will treasure that feeling forever. And lastly, I think I've been always asked what would I like to be remembered for? What would I like to leave behind? And, if I helped at all, I think that I helped the notion that it's okay for a woman to be an athlete, to be competitive, to be tough, to be determined. And those are attributes and qualities that it was always okay for men to be those things, but not until the last 20 years or so has it been okay for a woman to be those things. And I would like to encourage little girls all over the world just to pursue your dreams. And look what happened to me. I mean, I wasn't the best athlete. I wasn't the fastest or the quickest or the most powerful, but I made it happen because I wanted it badly enough. And so all you young girls out there, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. And lastly, I just hope that everybody goes through the museum and really learns about the history of the game. It's very educational. It's very rewarding, and I had a ball this weekend, and I just like to say thank you. I'll always remember it, and I definitely will come back year after year. Thank you.
This is my first time here in Newport, and my first time to go through the Hall of Fame, and it's everything and more I ever heard it to be. And as I look back now, I wish I would have spent more time here, but happy to be here today. If you don't mind, I'll put these on. No wonder I argue with so many linesmen. I could never see the ball. As I have said many times, I love everything about this game. I like the work, I like the grind, the dedication, the competition, the sacrifice. But I didn't look at it as work. It was my pleasure. I make no apologies for the way I play the game, and it seems to me that's what the fans came to expect of me. And in return, that brought out the best I had, never wanting to disappoint them, the fans, at any time. My grandmother was around for all the hard work the first 15 years, and then when things started going good, and I turned pro when I was 19 in 1972, she left us. so I hope she was, I know she was watching, and so her seat is next to me. But my mother was left to take over the task of furthering me on. I don't know if she liked the inheritance that she had there, but she was able to wear 3 hats throughout the course of my life. One is a coach, one is my mother, and one is my friend. And for her to be able to balance that, to wear each hat and still, after 45, almost 46 years, still be able to sit down and talk with each other was quite something. And I thank you for everything. Thanks for everything that you've done. Thanks for being the fans that you are. Continue to love this game. I do. Thanks for everything.
Is it true that I have to apologize to all the umpires of the world? What do you people think? That's what I thought. The hell with them. Mine, because it started for me about, 8.5 years old. My parents joined a club about a block away. There was only tennis and swimming at the club, so I said, well, tennis sounds a lot better than swimming. One of the earliest tournaments I ever played was at Forest Hill Stadium, playing against a guy by the name of Larry Lynette, who was the best player or one of the better players in the East at the time. I watched him play before the match. I said, Jesus, I got to be honest, this guy doesn't look like he's all that great. I think I can handle this guy. And so I called my parents up. I said, don't worry about it. All right, everything's cool. I'm going to beat this guy. Just pick me up in about an hour and a half. That was including the shower and the stretching that I didn't do then. And he said, and after I lost 6-1, 6-0 in about 45 minutes, I had to reassess the situation just a touch. But fortunately enough for me, at that time, I was sent over to this Port Washington Tennis Academy, where lo and behold, I ran into 2 gentlemen who really changed. Ava, we okay over there? It changed my career, and I feel greatly contributed to the player I am today, one of which is Harry Hopman, who is in the Hall of Fame. You may have heard of him, the great Australian Davis Cup captain. I think Ken mentioned him in his speeches. He was a fantastic old man who had, fortunately for myself, actually had a falling out with the Australian Federation and had moved to Port Washington, Long Island. Now, why, I don't know, but thankfully he did. God bless everyone. Thank you very much.
I remember playing my first tournament. I was 9 years old. Back then, the tournaments were 12 and under, and I was by far the youngest and smallest one out there. My father had to convince the tournament people that I was able to play the tournament and compete against girls that were, 2 heads taller than me. And it ended up that I got to the semifinals, and we ran out of money and food. I'd like to thank my first coach, George Parma, who actually took me on for no payment. I did not realize that I had a tryout with him, and he liked what he saw. I always used to run to pick up balls. I still do to this day. And he said, okay, I'll coach your daughter for no money at all, because, of course, we couldn't afford it. And without him, I definitely would not be standing here today. I'd like to thank Jan Kodesh, who is sitting here behind me. For 2 things, great inspiration. My very first Wimbledon in 1973, I got to the finals of juniors, and I watched Jan Kodesh win the whole thing, so that was pretty amazing. Not bad for a first Wimbledon. Thank you for that, and most of all, thank you for intervening with the Czech Federation and allowing me to get out of Czechoslovakia in 1975. Thank you. As is true with all my coaches, I think that's the one thing that we had all in common. We wanted to learn the game, we wanted to improve, we wanted to know there was everything to know, but most of all, we had fun. We were always laughing, and that's what I think sometimes people forget these days. They take it so seriously. Let us not forget that tennis is a game. I was completely honored to be inducted, to be here today, standing here, being a part of a building that houses not only the history of tennis, but the future of it as well. So when all is being said and done, I know that I have given a very good part of my soul to the game of tennis. But as in life, when you give, you receive. And I must say that tennis has given me soul, and that debt I can never repay. Thank you very much.
Tony Roach was the main man who helped me to cross the last step and get me to where I got. I was doing an interview not long ago with an Australian journalist about Tony Roach. And after we were done, he says, "You had so many nice things to say about Tony. What's the worst thing you can say about Tony?" And I said, "He does not like fast greens." Anyhow, tennis is a very unique sport. It is called an individual sport, but I don't believe that. Yes, when you win, you get all the credit. But without many people along the way, I don't think anybody can get where they ever got. It starts with the people who introduce you to the sport, which in my case were my parents. Then it starts with the first teacher who gives you the basics, and goes on through all the coaches and managers and friends who help you in many, many ways. Without them, you couldn't get there. Many of them are here today, and I want to thank them very much. It's a very special occasion today. I'm very proud and honored to be here, get this honor, and I'm thrilled I can share it with my family over here and with my friends. Thank you very much for coming and for having me. Thank you.
Well, it's been a long way to get here. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of hours on the court. But like Dodo said, it's been a lot of fun. Otherwise, I don't think I could have got here because you got to love this game, and I really love this game. It's a game between two individuals, and that's really what makes it so special. So I'm really privileged to be part of tennis. Obviously, there is a lot of people that you need help from in order to get here, because I couldn't make it on my own. There is no chance. And it takes me back to my parents, which are not here today. They are back in Sweden. They were great support in the beginning, taking me from tournament to tournament at young age. Also would like to say a few things about the US Open, which wasn't my favorite tournament to start with, I have to admit that. It was kind of tough playing at the Flushing Meadows with airplanes going over your head all the time and not hearing when you was hitting the ball. But I learned to appreciate it, and I had 2 great years back in 91, 92, where I played some of my best tennis in my career. So nowadays, I love the US Open. And lastly, I would like to thank all the fellow players that are here today. I think you made tennis, and without you playing, I wouldn't be here either, because you supported the game for so long. I'm so glad to see you here today. And it's a very special day today, but it was even more special yesterday to see everybody walking on the court here. So much talent at one place. And I remember that for the rest of my life. Thank you, guys, and thank you.
Tennis has allowed me to get in this incredible journey. And the best part about this journey has been it led me to you. So, well, I want to thank all of you for coming out here today. It is great to look out and see so many friends and familiar faces here. It's an incredible, incredible honor. Yesterday, when we took a picture with members of the Hall of Fame, and as I looked around and I saw all these incredible, incredible champions, I mean, I felt so privileged and overwhelmed to be inducted here today. We're all defined by our relationships in our lives. Our accomplishments are the results of these relationships. I was blessed to have a great group of friends and family at my side during my career. I want them to know that this ceremony honors them as well. And last, I would like to thank the fans who've supported me my whole career. Many of them that I see today in the stands, I mean, over a span of and those that continue the passion that we all have, the passion for tennis. Thank you.
I must say I've always loved the history of the game as much as the game itself. I don't know how or why I picked up a tennis racket at 7, but I did and it felt natural. I'd rather be playing tennis right now, so. But my dad, he recognized my talent and he got me into lessons. And that's where my love affair with the sport began. I remember as a kid hitting balls in our basement. I used to hit at the local park, and as I got older, I saw old tapes of Rod Laver and Ken Rosewall. Now, at the time, I was just fascinated by these guys and how they play their attacking games. But it wouldn't be until later that I would truly appreciate what it takes to be a great champion. Things like the importance of humility and class, sportsmanship and dignity. Fortunately for me, all these things tapped into my core values and how I was raised. Therefore, I embraced the tradition of the game from the start. In fact, there were times I would think I'm kind of a 50s player living in the 90s. And as a result, I felt a bit misunderstood by some. But by many, I felt embraced and loved. So to my fans, I want to thank you. So as I take my place among the greatest players of all time here in the Hall of Fame, I stand before you both humbled and grateful. I'm a tennis player. Nothing more and nothing less. It's more than enough for me. It always has been. I thank you.
First of all, I want to thank the International Tennis Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. I realize that the list of inductees is very small, and to be included with such champions, both on and off the court, of the sport of tennis is truly special. This is a day I will remember for the rest of my life with much pride and fondness. Thank you so very much. As I reflect upon my career, the words dedication, perseverance, hard work, sacrifice, faith, unity, and love come to mind. And you would think that I am referring to myself through all these years, but in actuality, I am not. You see, for any champion to succeed, he must have a team, a very incredible, special team. When you get to playing at the top, pressures are coming from everywhere, and the last thing you ever want to worry about is whether or not you'll still be loved or accepted by those dearest to you. I never had that kind of burden, and I hope the future generations of young tennis players around the world never have to carry that kind of burden either. But with that, in closing, I want to thank the International Tennis Hall of Fame again for this tremendous honor, and also a special thank you to many of my fans and supporters throughout the world for always encouraging me throughout my career through your cheers, your words, and your letters. Thank you for allowing me to celebrate this tennis career in such an extraordinary and very, very special way. It is truly an incredible honor. Thank you very much.
And really, I owe my tennis career to my father, who as a little girl spent countless hours with me on the tennis court. But most importantly, he made sure that I always had fun. And I know that without my dad's support, knowledge of the game, I would have not won all those titles and really not played such aggressive tennis, I guess I can say that word, where I hit the ball on the rise and really try to dictate the points. I also would like to recognize all my fellow great competitors who I faced over the years. And I would like to do something that they can remember me by, because they heard this sound many, many, many times over the years. And for once and for all, I will say that it was never done intentionally. So I will try to do a grunt here. But it won't be like the original grunt. So for all good old time's sakes, here it is. And in closing, one of the things I felt very strongly about when I learned that I was being inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame was donating all my trophies to the museum. I really encourage you guys to go up there and walk through the museum, because the memorabilia that they have is truly magical. I know all my trophies have a wonderful home, and most importantly, I hope it will inspire young children to pick up a racket, go out there, hit a few balls, and hopefully fall in love with the sport like I did. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the wonderful memories. And thank you to the Hall of Fame for bestowing this wonderful honor on me.
There is a time for everything in life. Life isn't always fair, it isn't always fun, and it's not always easy. I never wanted to spend my adult life in a wheelchair, and I never wanted to play sports from a wheelchair. It was never part of my plan for my life. I wondered what sports I could still participate in. I remember thinking, I bet I could play tennis in a wheelchair. Why not? When we formed the wheelchair tennis organization called the National Foundation of Wheelchair Tennis, we sat down and asked the question, how do you tell the world about a sport nobody's ever heard of? When I first started playing wheelchair tennis, people thought it was impossible to play tennis in a wheelchair. We figured we had to demonstrate to people that we can play, and we sort of looked at ourselves like barnstormers, like Jack Kramer in the 1950s trying to promote and develop pro tennis. We did exhibitions wherever we could, ranging from NBA halftime games to Davis Cup ties, at beautiful tennis clubs to physical therapy gyms and rehab centers. We set up courts in gymnasiums, shopping centers, sidewalks, parking lots, wherever we could, to just show that you can play wheelchair tennis and to teach it. All I ever really wanted to accomplish was my love for tennis and to share with others that you can play tennis. But don't get me wrong, I loved playing wheelchair tennis tournaments. I loved to win tournaments, and I loved to see who was the best. I always wondered, how good can a wheelchair tennis player become? It was at a tournament in Grand Rapids in 1985 that I was sitting alone before a match. It was a typical Midwestern indoor tennis facility with 12 tennis courts. And I saw 12 courts full of wheelchair tennis players playing tennis. And I thought to myself, we did it. This is really what I wanted to accomplish. We are playing tennis. We are wheelchair tennis players. Thank you. God bless.
I fell in love with tennis far too late in my life, but the reason that I have everything that I hold dear is because of how much tennis has loved me back. It's no accident that tennis uses the language of life: service, advantage, break, fault, love. The lessons of tennis are the lessons of maturity. In tennis, you prepare, and then one day your preparation seems futile. Nothing's working, and the other guy's got your number cold. So you improvise. In tennis, you learn what I do instantly affects what you do, and vice versa. Tennis makes you perceptive, proactive, reactive, all at the same time. Tennis teaches you the subtlety of human interaction, the curse and blessing of cause and effect. After you play tennis for a living, you never forget that we are all connected. One of the landmarks of our sport, our National Tennis Center in New York, is home to the Arthur Ashe Stadium. What courage Arthur showed, how fair he was while being treated so unfairly. Once Arthur grabbed hold of a truth, he was unwilling, not capable of letting go. Tennis gave us that man. He was and is a treasure, not just for America, but for the whole world, for those who have yet to be born. To my children, to all of our children, stand on our shoulders, reach higher than we could, reach for your dreams. Because today, standing here, receiving this honor, I am living proof that no dream, no journey is impossible. Thank you.
I don't know what's harder for me, if it's to get this far on the Hall of Fame or do the speech. But as my mother told, I never give up, so I'll go ahead. Let's see what happens. Jennifer, I don't want to compare my career with you. Otherwise, they will think twice if they will accept me to the Hall of Fame. I was a teenager, first traveling to the United States, 13, and you, with the same age, being the semi-final in the French Open and the Wimbledon, being top 10 in the world, so it's better stop right here. Congratulations. I'm sorry, I didn't, as you see, I didn't write anything, as my English, you can tell, is not that good. Imagine if I have to write it. then it would be a hard time. It would take forever. On this way, I start to understand, and tennis show me and introduce me to people and show me experience that I believe my life is not all about tennis, but tennis is in every single thing of my life, that's for sure. I think especially comparing with the ones here who received the award, I did a little, but it's increased. So I will get it going, and in the future I hope to be back here as I felt at home, especially with this warm weather. Thank you very much.
I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen. Nobody told me the toughest part was holding back the tears. First, I have to say, welcome all, and that this is such a beautiful establishment. Really, this couldn't be a more beautiful setting to hold this prestigious event. I'm so happy to be here. So I can't believe this day is here. I wasn't sure if it would ever come, and if I would have the chance to take my place on center court again. It's really hard to describe all the amazing moments and experiences I've had in 36 years. What just seems like a few moments. I dreamed of tennis as a little girl. I dreamed of being the best. I have to say I achieved all of my dreams and more. Even though my life took some twists and turns that I didn't expect, I still managed to overcome adversity, win Grand Slams, pocket a gold medal, become the #1 player in the world, and now stand at the podium of the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Finally, I thank the Hall of Fame for giving me this honor. I thank the members of the voting press. And last but not least, I thank the fans. We love you. Love you too. It is a new beginning and a transition. A new beginning that is going to allow me to use all that I accomplished on and off the court to inspire and help everyone to believe in themselves, love themselves, and be true to themselves. So thank you all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to tell you how deeply I'm honored and, of course, also moved to stand here in front of you today in this wonderful place with so much history. I can only find the words to express the proud feelings that I have being now a member of such an elite group our sport has elected to represent millions and millions of people worldwide playing tennis. I could repeat the words been said so many times before here. Our sport has given me everything in my life, and it would be the truth. But maybe I can add something special, something to give you a little bit more insight about who I am and what this all means to me. I was born behind the Iron Curtain, and my mother wanted to tear the curtain apart for me. That is the reason I played tennis as a little girl. In 1980, my mother had not many choices for giving me a better life and a chance for freedom to see the world. She chose the game of tennis as a way out of the world and the prison we lived in. So thank you, Mom. She also gave me the name Martina after Martina Navratilova, who was a great legend and a symbol of freedom in our country back in Czechoslovakia. When I was a little girl, I didn't know there is a Hall of Fame. When I was at the top of my game, I did not know there was far more than sports. As I stand here now in front of you, I'm not sure if I deserve all this. So what can I say more? Thank you all, and I love you all. Thank you.
I was born in a family that loved tennis. My father, Jules, was a tennis teacher, and my mother, Jacqueline, she was a member of the youth tennis committee at our tennis club. My sister, Natalie, she was also in the national tennis team of Holland. So already at a young age, I spent all my days at the local tennis club together with my family. At the age of 18, more than 30 years ago, I'm not telling you my age, I had a car accident and became paraplegic. When the doctor told me I would never walk again, my life seemed to be torn apart. I would have to continue my life without tennis. But then one day, my uncle from Belgium visited me at the hospital. And he told me he had seen wheelchair tennis on the French television. And I could play tennis now in a wheelchair. Wheelchair tennis brought so much to my life. The challenge to work on my tennis game, I just love to practice and see if all you worked for will reveal in the matches. That's very exciting and gives so much satisfaction when you succeed. But it also helped me so much to deal with my life in a wheelchair. Being around all those active, young, independent, positive-minded sports people showed me how great my life in a wheelchair still could be. I also would like to thank all the people that have supported me so much during my tennis career and who helped me to achieve what I have achieved. Without them, it would not have been possible. Thank you.
I was 5 years old when I first hit a tennis ball and a racket was put in my hand. It was the third sport that my parents tried with me to get me out of the house, clearly at a young age after school. And I never wanted to learn another sport, and I still don't. I always look back to 2 days that my life forever changed, and one of them happened when I was just 8 years old. I was playing in a junior team tennis match, club versus club, and what was a common sight, my mom becoming very friendly with my opponent's mom. But on this day, my opponent was Stephanie Lansdorp, daughter of the world-renowned coach, Robert Lansdorp. And by the end of the 8-game pro set, Susie Lansdorp, Robert's wife, and one of the most amazing women on this planet, had convinced my mom that I should try her husband's academy, which was just down the road. And so the next week, off I went, and my life would never be the same. I was fortunate to have other great coaching influences in my career, and particularly two females. One, Lynn Raleigh, who was in charge of the USTA player development when I was growing up. The great Billie Jean King, I had the honor of her being my Fed Cup and Olympic captains throughout the majority of my career. And all you have to do is spend a few moments with Billie Jean to hear her passion, get her enthusiasm for the sport, learn about the game and the history of it. And I will never forget the talk she gave me before the gold medal match in Atlanta. It meant the world to me and certainly inspired me. I loved playing this game. I never thought any of this would be possible. It always felt a little bit like an accident. I became better than I thought I could be. I didn't know how to handle that at times, but I do hope that I handled it as well as I could and with some class. And this is an incredible honor for me, an amazing achievement, and I will forever be humbled by this. But thank you very much.
It's an extraordinary honor, and it fills my heart to be standing in front of you. To be a Hall of Famer is a dream come true, and I know I'm here. I know they've given me the jacket. It's too late to take it back, but I'm not sure it'll ever be real in my mind. The best part for me is sharing it with my close friends, tennis fans, my team, and my family. As all of us can surely attest, you don't get here alone. You need a lot of help, and it takes a village. As I referenced before, it is a bit of a selfish existence. I was fortunate to have amazing people in the orbit of my career. I was always appreciative, but that appreciation has grown as I've moved away from tennis. I realized they took years out of their lives and spent time away from their families to help me achieve my goals. It's obvious, the things that tennis has given me. What's not obvious is how the legends of the game have shaped the way I view the world. It's touched every part of my life. Growing up a tennis fan was a lot of fun. It was also an education. Absolute icons of our sport that were never scared to stand for something they believed in. From Martina to Arthur to Andre to Billie Jean King, Roger's work with UNICEF. And then there are a million other examples, but tennis does not get the credit it deserves for the social changes that it's helped curate over the years. I'm not the best of all time. I'm not going to win Wimbledon. I'm not the best of my generation. I'm not the most well-behaved. I'm not the most polished. I'm also never going to take this honor for granted. I'm never going to forget those who paved the way before us. I'm never going to forget the innocent parts of this game that we all love. Thanks to my friends who were always there during the laughter and the tears. My team who gave me so much of themselves. To my now peers of the Hall of Fame for voting me into this esteemed club. You'll never know how much it means to me, but please know that your support was appreciated. Most importantly, to tennis fans around the world for making this game so important on a global level. I may not be a lot of things, but from this day forward, I'll never be anything less than a Hall of Famer. I thank you from the deepest parts of my heart.
Well, this is an incredible moment for me and for my family and my husband's side of the family being here. But first of all, I would like to thank the International Tennis Hall of Fame. I'm very, very honored to be an inductee and honored to join all the past inductees and my fellow members of the class of 2017, each of whom, there you go, each of whom have left a major mark on our sport in distinct and unique ways. Tennis has been so great to me. It has given me so many opportunities and it's taught me so many lessons that are applicable both on and off the court, lessons that I often talk about with the students at my academy, but also to my family. And I would like to describe them in 8 words. Dedication, caring, optimism, patience, respect, sacrifice, tolerance, and passion. But of those 8 words, there are really 3 that are the most important to me and to all that's happened and that has brought me to this special place here today. The first is optimism. That is having the right attitude. As you deal with adversity and negative moments, it's important to stay positive. I'm not just talking about tennis, but in life overall. The second is dedication, taking the time to really devote yourself to whatever you want to accomplish. Practice, fitness, mentally being ready, and all the extra effort that it takes to succeed. That has been very important to me as well. And finally, but most importantly, comes passion. You can be optimistic, you can be dedicated, but most of all, you have to bring that special energy and desire to anything that you do. Everyone who stood on this stage before me and will stand here after me has had a passion for the sport of tennis. So again, just to round it up, thank you to the International Tennis Hall of Fame for giving this humbling experience to me and to my family. We really appreciate it very much. Thank you to everybody who's come out here today, and thank you for tennis for making my dreams come true and for giving me so much. And it's now our way to give back, our chance to give back. So thank you, everybody, very much.
Thank you so much, International Tennis Hall of Fame. It's an unbelievable, incredible honor to be here today. And I'm so proud and deeply honored and humbled at the same time to become part of this tennis family and to join Kim, Andy, Steve, and posthumously Vic Braden. How magic and powerful is tennis? I think the answer can be found right here at the International Tennis Hall of Fame. I was totally impressed and totally overwhelmed yesterday when I entered the museum. There is so much culture, so much history preserved in this place. This is by far more than I expected. I'm so fortunate to have tennis in my life. It's been magic and powerful to me as well. At the age of 6, I picked up my first racket. I was still running around the court, and as a teenager, I looked up at tennis icons and role models like Chris Evert and like Martina Navratilova. They were my source of inspiration. They gave me my dream of becoming a top player, and I wanted to be like them. You're passionate about a dream. There are highs, there are lows, there's success, but there's also failure. And there's celebration. There's disappointment, there's resilience, there's dedication, but the glass is always half full, especially when you're a daughter of a bar owner. And always aiming for gold, but be thankful with less. That was important to me. And tennis has made me to who I am today, and for that I am so grateful.
I think when I started playing tennis, I was thrown in with my parents. I have 2 older brothers, and my parents started late, and they had to take me as a 6-year-old. You couldn't leave the 6-year-old at home all on his own, so take him to the clubs, give him a racket, a ball, and tell him there's a wall and you can play against for the next 2 hours. So that's how about I started playing tennis, and unfortunately I never beat that opponent in my years. So I decided to finish school and just enjoy tennis. And the reason why I really played tennis was because I loved the game. It was not because I wanted to be a professional, because I didn't even know what it meant to be a professional. You know, it was like some players out there at Wimbledon play tennis. How do they get there? What do they do when they get there? How do they book a hotel? How do they get into the tournament? All that stuff I had no clue about. So I think for me it was the right upbringing, because I would have not been ready with 15 or 16 at all to go around the world and do tennis as a job. I had to have that grown up as a lover of the game. When I prepared my speech and I was asked to, hand in the paper with the written speeches on, and everybody was getting nervous, and I said, I don't have a paper. It just will happen. I'll improvise. Was the best time I had on court as well. And I wanted to suck in all the atmosphere and the experience I have coming here. And it's been a lot. I mean, going to the museum and seeing all those great players being part of the Tennis Hall of Fame just does something with you. And also, I know it comes along with the responsibility to give back and promote the game of tennis and promote the sport and go out there and tell people how great this is, what we can do, and how great it is for the coming generations, that it's worth really trying hard and never giving up. And as long as we have the respect and the loyalty towards institutions like this and towards our fellow players. And I think that's something we have to teach the young generations a little bit more, that there is very important to have respect and loyalty out there. I think this sport will be great over the next decades to come, and I promise, or I'll do my best to be part of this and to help this and make this happen. Thank you very much.
As you all know, I come from Prague, Czech Republic, which originates from Czechoslovakia, where tennis is very popular. I am very proud to be part of the gallery of legends who have contributed to the success of our sport in both my country and around the world. After the Second World War, major name joining the world's best was Jaroslav Drobný, and then in the 70s, Jan Kodeš, both of them French Open and Wimbledon singles champions. I stand here as a representative of women's tennis, and the most important heartfelt person for me is my mom, Vera. Being a Wimbledon singles finalist and a top 5 world-ranked player, she will forever be a tennis legend. Her overall abilities and knowledge of the sport resulted in her being one of the most recognized coaches in the world. After my mom became the Czechoslovak national coach, big names like Martina Navratilova, Hanna Mandlíková, and others went through her coaching leadership. She captained first Czechoslovak Federation Cup victory in 1975, as well as victories in both the Salzburg and Sofia Cups. Unfortunately for us all, Mom passed away at a very young age of 50. But I believe she's watching over us ever since and celebrates together with my family and I at this moment. On one hand, it was a lonely fight, but at the same time, there is always a kind of teamwork, because alone you cannot practice, alone you cannot play doubles, alone it is much harder to make any decision or find the best solutions. From this stand, I would like to thank all the people that helped me to reach my highs in tennis. I already spoke about my mom, and again, my thanks to my father, Cyril, and my brother, along with my coaches, managers, sponsors, sparring partners, the tennis clubs that allow me to practice on their courts, and many others. Champions work on finding ways for improvements and not wasting their time trying to correct mistakes. And I promise to always be heading this way in my life, both around and outside of tennis. Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you how honored I am standing in front of you tonight on such a important day for me. Let me first start mentioning two people that are most important persons in my life. They did best I could. I felt nothing but love, warmth, and care. Mom and Dad, I know you're watching it. I love you so much. You've been there for me through thick and thin. I love you. And when I come back home, we will celebrate this wonderful day. You all know that the professionals go through up and downs in their career. And in the middle of '98, I felt like I was struggling with motivation and desire. So my agent called me up and says, "Look, there is Larry around. I was on my own, basically. I had no coach." And then he said to me, "Look, you wanna try with Larry? He's got good reputation. He coached John McEnroe before." I said, "Yeah, let's give it a shot." And parts in those 3 wonderful years that we had together, I have accomplished a lot with you. So winning that '99 Australian Open, becoming then 3 months later in May, #1 in the world, and of course, 2000 Olympics. So I value our relationship very much so till this day. You know, we've been friends for number of years, and hopefully we'll stay like that for forever. Thanks. And, I know what it's like now to be a Hall of Famer, and I will definitely carry that responsibility for the rest of my life, and hopefully I'll be not disappointing. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I will try my speech like my name, short as ever. You know, I think it's great honor to be a Hall of Famer and join the great names of the tennis legends. I started by 8. During the time, I hate tennis. Honestly, I hate. Because after school, I have to come to the tennis court. No time, play with my friend. When the time went by, I really enjoyed this amazing sport. Looking back for the past year, I'm grateful a lot of the people when have powered me. I want to think about the Hubei team when I was grew up, also China Tennis Federation, and all my coaches. The tough training days, the tear of the lose, the excitement after wins, the tireless work for the team, the support from friends, also the family. All of this have resulted in this only Lina and cannot be achievement without any of you. Tennis has taken me around the world, explored different countries. Also, because of this great sport, I have learned self-control and become better organized. I think for this, I can benefit lifelong and more importantly, not only on the tennis court. It has been 5 years after my retirement. In the past 5 years, I enjoyed better work and the life balance, and mostly importantly, I got 2 children. Yeah. But sad, same husband. In the future, I will do all I can to inspire, to help more young and upcoming players, and I hope they can enjoy this amazing sport. 最后还要感谢这么多年来一直支持我的球迷，谢谢。So, yeah, thank you everyone, everyone in here, and also thanks for the International Hall of Fame. Thank you.
So there's a quote that I read when I was about 18, 19 years old, and it said, the goal is only as, sorry, I thought I would start crying a lot later than this. The goal is only as worthy as the effort required to achieve it. And I remember reading that at a young age in the beginning of my professional career, and how much that really spoke to me, because how difficult things are and how much hard work and dedication it takes to achieve your goals and your dreams. And like Nick said, all the blood and the sweat and the tears that it takes is worth it. And I realized the great dreams that I had in tennis, I put them so high, and I thought to be able to achieve them, it's going to take everything of me. And like Nick said, I didn't hold back anything. And I always felt that I give 100% of myself, and that I can be very proud of and have no regrets. Tennis has taught me so much in life. It's such a great teacher. It's taught me that, like I said, anything that you want to achieve doesn't come easy. It comes with hard work and dedication and sacrifice. It taught me that you need to believe in yourself, no matter what anyone says, to always believe in your dreams. Sacrifice, dedication, hard work, respect. So many incredible values that it's taught me throughout my life. And of course, the tears that you sow in pain, they later become tears of joy.
To all of my fans, thank you for your love and your support. Merci à tous mes fans qui sont en France.
Je vous aime. Thank you for your support. To all my fellow inductees, congratulations. To everyone at the International Tennis Hall of Fame, to Stan, Todd, Diane, everyone who voted for me, thank you so much for making yet another miracle possible in my life today. This is an amazing honor. I'm humbled, privileged to now be a Hall of Famer. I'm so grateful. I will remember this day for the rest of my life. Thank you, everyone. May the Lord bless you, and I give all the glory to the Lord.